Okay, in this video I'm going to walk you through a few of the delta math problems. So this one wants you to graph this equation, y equals 3 square root of x. So the graph that's already here in place is the square root of x, and then what they want us to do is apply this vertical stretch of 3. So I know it's going to be a stretch because the number, the coefficient, or the number in front of the equation is greater than 1. So because it's 3, it's not a fraction, it's a whole number that's greater than 1. I know it's going to be a vertical stretch. So the function's going to stretch and get more stretched out, longer. Okay, so to apply a vertical stretch, I need to multiply the y coordinates by whatever the stretch is. So I'm not going to pay attention to the x-axis, actually. I'm going to ignore the x-axis. So that would be different. Instead, I'm going to pay attention to the y-axis, and I'm going to do a vertical stretch of the function by the same number. So for example, right now it's at 1, and I want to get it to 3 because that's the coefficient of my function. So 1, 2, 3, and that's going to be the function with the new vertical stretch. So to quickly review, I know it's a stretch because this number, the coefficient, is greater than 1. It's not a fraction, it's a whole number greater than 1. And in order to apply the stretch, I'm going to look at the y-axis and multiply the y-coordinates by the number. So 1 times 3 would give me 3. Okay, let's try another one. Okay, so this one is a little bit trickier. And again, I have my original function of 2 to the power of x. My exponential function looks like this. And I'm going to try to apply the vertical squish of 1/4. So how do I know this is a squish? So how do I know it's getting smaller? Is because it's a fraction. The coefficient's a fraction. It's less than 1. So this is a squish because the coefficient's less than 1. So it's the opposite of the one that I just showed you previously, which was a stretch because the coefficient was 3, which is greater than 1. Okay, so again, I'm going to be looking along the y-axis, and I'm going to be multiplying my y-coordinate by 1/4. So I'm going to be doing this 2 times 1/4. So let me pull up a calculator. And I'm going to be taking my 2, because that's my y-coordinate, the 2, and I'm going to multiply by the fraction, which I'm going to make sure to put in parentheses, by 1/4, 1 divided by 4. And I'm going to get 0.5 or 1/2. So I'm going to change my y-coordinate to 1/2. All right, let's do one more. That's the same one. Okay, so first thing I'm going to ask myself, is this a stretch or a squish? Looking at the equation, I have a fraction as my coefficient. It's less than 1, so it's going to be a squish. And I'm going to multiply my y-coordinate, so this 1, I'm going to multiply it by 1/3. anything times 1 is just itself, so 1 times 1/3 is just going to be 1/3. So I'm just going to shrink this down to 1/3. So 1/2 would be like there. 1/3 is going to be a little bit less, so I'm going to drag it down a little bit more. This can be tricky on Delta Math to get exactly to 1/3. I can't really tell. That looks like 1/2 to me. That's 1, that's 1/2. Well, that's frustrating. Let me try this one, because this one's at 3. 1/3 of 3 is going to be 1, so I'm going to drag this one down to 1. Okay, so that's going to be shrinking by 1/3 because I went from 3 down to 1. Okay, so hopefully this helped with Delta Math. Let me know if you have any more questions.